Thank you all so much for being here, and hello and welcome to our May seller check-in. We have great stuff today. Andrea's going to go first, and she's going to provide a marketplace update and give a seller news roundup. And then I'll be back in a little while, and I'll talk about eBay Open, our flagship event, and we'll talk about a special call out for submissions. And I'm going to share some of your listing best practices that you told to us and to your fellow sellers. And then Stuart is here, and he's going to give a shipping update. And then finally, one of our expert growth advisors, Jennifer, is going to walk you through how you can see and use all of the data available across Seller Hub to drive those results for your business. And if we get through all of that content, we will try to keep some time at the end to answer some of the unanswered questions from last time, maybe choose one or two from the Q&A to answer as well. And as a reminder, at the end of the meeting, when it ends, there's a survey. We want to know how we did. What could we do better? What did we do great at? Please take that survey as the meeting ends and let us know what you think. And with that, it's over to Andrea.
Thanks, Rebecca, and hi, sellers. I am, as ever, delighted to be in your company. Thanks so much for joining us. So as Rebecca mentioned, I've got two jobs to do today. First is to let you know how we are continuing to build momentum in our key categories and reach out to buyers, both new and existing. And then the second is to do a bit of a seller news roundup. We're publishing a lot of updates and new news, and thought it would be helpful to capture some of that here. So without further ado, we'll move on to how we're supporting the marketplace through marketing and other through marketing and reaching out to buyers. With the summer approaching and with key shopping events right around the corner, here are some updates about how we're supporting the awareness and driving traffic to the marketplace. So first, Memorial Day on the left-hand side of the slide. We're making sure shoppers look to eBay first for incredible selection of deals, value, and selection. We're going to emphasize certified refurb, luxury watches, and other categories as we run campaigns on the site, on social, and we'll be on radio for this retail moment. Really looking to support the moment and drive shoppers to eBay. And then we're also deep into planning for Father's Day and July 4th. So definitely watch this space for continued engagement on gifting and deals retail moments. At the same time, we're continuing to promote eBay on social channels and in traditional media as we, again, try and reach out to both new and engaged buyers. So our professional athlete and influencer campaigns are continuing on TikTok, YouTube, and more. That's the middle section of the slide. A little bit later, I want to share with you the latest Authentication Nation YouTube video featuring WNBA star Sue Bird's sneaker collection, a sneaker collection that is so impressive, it inspired a Sports Illustrated feature story. So we'll play that in a minute or two. On TikTok, which is a platform that is obviously dominated by Gen Z and younger shoppers, we're partnering with more sneakerhead influencers like Brianna Green and Wendy Lam, who have hundreds of thousands of followers, even if you don't know their names, and maybe I don't either. And in fact, one recent video by an influencer named Sherlina went viral. It generated nearly 8 million views and 1.7 million likes, which is tremendous. And then additionally, this week, we expanded our presence on TikTok to include trading cards, really taking advantage of the crossover that we see in trading cards and sneakers, and starting to really, talk about collecting more broadly on TikTok. It's really amazing how these new younger audiences are also really keen collectibles enthusiasts. And so our presence there is going to really reinforce eBay's leadership position in that category. And then for watches, we released the third installment of our industry watch reports, which you can read in Watch Pro magazine. And also we hit 5,000 followers on our new watches Instagram handle, which is an amazing milestone. So we're breaking new ground with our marketing campaigns and really trying to drive awareness and engage shoppers, both those that are, longtime shoppers and those that are brand new to eBay. And speaking of newness, that leads us to NFTs on the right-hand side of the slide. Last week, we announced eBay's expansion into NFTs with inventory from sellers across trading cards, music, entertainment, and art. What is an NFT, you may ask? NFT stands for non-fungible token, which is a digital asset. It can be a photo, a video, it can be a dunk, it can be a tweet, it's built with blockchain technology that allows it to be a unique or limited asset. It's a new category of collectibles with a ton of potential. And eBay's announcement about NFTs is really expanding eBay's appeal to a new generation of collectors and ensuring, frankly, that we remain the preeminent and leading marketplace for collectibles of all kinds. So expect to see programs and policies and tools that will enable the buying and selling of NFTs across a range of categories. Definitely a watch this space moment. So now I will play a quick snippet of the Sue Bird video, and then I'll come back with the seller news roundup.
I wear the clothes that make me feel like me, and a big part of that is sneakers. eBay's authenticity guarantee main job is to make sure you get peace of mind.
So that was a quick little snippet. You can watch on social and other channels for similar videos from our influencers, and I think there's more from Sue Bird coming. So seller news. I wanted to recap some of the recent news announcements that we've made. And first up is the edit to cancel unpaid items. And just watch the chat because the team is going to be dropping in links to either the announcements or to landing pages with more content as we go through these announcements. So edit to cancel unpaid items. This is currently rolling out. So the deal is that you'll no longer have to file unpaid item claims or send payment reminders to your buyers. We'll proactively remind buyers to pay if they haven't paid within 4 days. And you can cancel an order on the 5th day. If it's available to you, you'll see buyer hasn't paid as an option when you're canceling an order in Seller Hub or My eBay Sold. And if you don't see it yet, don't worry, it's coming in the next few weeks. Second, the power seller retirement. As many of you are aware, we announced last week that we're retiring the power seller program. And this is a global change taking effect on June 21st. While we understand, the power seller program has been a badge of honor for many sellers, and I've been here for 15 years, and so I understand the attachment that many sellers have to the program. The reality is that for many years, the program hasn't provided significant benefits to sellers, and it hasn't been visible to buyers. So we'll continue to recognize the effort and quality of our sellers, but now we'll do it through the eBay Top Rated Seller Program, which you all are aware of, and many of you are recognized in. But if you're a power seller, I do want to take a moment and thank you for being one of our most active and longstanding sellers and for your contribution to what is eBay's heritage. So thanks very much. Next, on to changes in the adult only category. So we announced recently that we are revising our restricted adult items policy. Starting June 15th, items showing sexual activity, sexual content, or sexually suggestive poses will no longer be allowed to be on ebay.com, and we're going to start removing the items. Adult only will no longer be available as a category, and no new listings. So no new listings will be allowed in that category. And the good till canceled listings that are there now will be ended as they renew after June 15th. We have communicated to the impacted sellers. And again, the team is putting links in the chat so you can learn more. Number 4, new Seller Hub performance learning resources page. To help with the continued learning, there's a new resources page within Seller Hub to help you learn more about the different features within the performance tab, which I know many of you use daily. The content features videos, images, and texts, and caters to both new and experienced sellers. So definitely do take a look. Finally, again, another watch this space. Keep an eye on the seller community site for updates on eBay and how we are positioning eBay as the economy opens up. We're going to be actively talking about the inventory that consumers are beginning to look for as the US economy shifts to a more hopefully normal footing. Now, I will wrap up by handing over to Rebecca for some seller engagement updates. Rebecca?
Oh, thank you so much. And sellers, I hear that my video may have been a little bit wonky earlier. If that's still true, please let me know in the chat, and I apologize for that. I have yelled at the people in my house and asked them to stop playing on the PS5 or streaming YouTube or whatever it is that they're doing. Okay, so let's talk about the seller engagement updates that I have for you. First, I'm going to talk to you about eBay Open and what the plan is for this year and our call for submissions. And then I'm going to talk about some listing best practices that are tips and tricks that you shared with us on Facebook. So let's start with eBay Open. So the big news here is that eBay Open is coming back. It is going to be virtual, but we can confirm that the dates are August 4th through 6th. So please mark your calendars and plan to join us for what should be an amazing virtual event. We'll share more details about exactly what's going to happen during those 3 days when registrations open next month. But in the meantime, we have a call for submissions from you. You know, as a part of eBay Open Online, we plan to have some seller-led sessions, but in order to do this, we need to hear from you. What do you have to tell your fellow sellers? What is it that you want to share with other sellers to help them get better at their business too? So please help us identify anyone, yourself or others that you know who have a specialized approach to certain areas of selling. Especially it's, most important if people really want to share those insights. So what are we talking about here? The sessions will be 30 minutes and they could be on topics like selling specific items, packaging, managing inventory, ideas about sourcing, although we won't ask you to tell your insider secrets about where you source from, but hints and ideas that you have about how to approach it would be great. So what we're going to do is share a Google form in the chat. It may already be in there. Someone may have put it in there. And also it'll be in the follow-up email that will come after this event. Please submit your thoughts via that form by May 28th. And we hope to get a lot of great ideas. Probably about 8 will be selected. So I want to be very transparent about that, but we sure hope that we get a lot of fascinating ideas, see what it is that you sellers have to share with each other. And then we'll make the choices based on the topic and the potential number of sellers who are interested in attending a session around that type of content. So we're really excited for eBay Open. We can't wait until August and spending this time together with you. And we hope that you are too. And yes, we are on Pacific time. I see that in the chat. You're right. We should have mentioned that. We are on Pacific time. Okay. Next, let's talk about listing best practices. So hopefully you all follow eBay for Business on Facebook, and we have monthly themes that we talk about across our social channels, including on Facebook. This month's theme, May's theme, is Know Your Customers, but this week's specific theme is Listing Best Practices. We had a social sweepstakes recently, and we asked you to share your listing best practices, and oh my gosh, you guys did not disappoint. You submitted so many great suggestions. And so I brought some here to share with you, but you can also put some hints and tips in the chat for each other if you'd like to. So let's read through. I think I'll, just read about 4 of these. You can read them yourself as well. But here is Melanie. Melanie said, I make my listings from scratch with vivid photos on a white background. That's a great hint. We all know that Google prefers product images that are on a white background. Melanie goes on to say, I fill in all item specifics. I always make sure my description includes all measurements and note any flaws. Thanks, Melanie. Next up is Rosie's. Rosie's is just to the point. Terapeak Research has been a savior for listings and optimization. Kudos. And I think we're going to hear a little more about Terapeak in a little while from Jennifer. But as a reminder, Terapeak is free now. All right, next up is John. John says consistency is number 1. And this is actually something we heard from lots of the tips that we got through the sweepstakes. John says, I have seen a large increase in sales by simply setting a daily goal to list X amount of items per day. For me, it is 7 listings per day. Now I have a target, a baseline, and something to improve on. I love that hint. I think that consistency is really important and valuable. All right, finally is Denise. Denise says, while selling an eBay Motors, the pictures can be kind of boring, but I don't know. I think eBay Motors photos are pretty exciting, although I don't know, is a bumper exciting or a spark plug? Probably to a buyer who really wants to buy it. She goes on to say, but the most important part is to be thorough and take lots of pictures of the items from all angles to show the buyer everything they need. This, along with accurate descriptions, will lead to more sales and less questions that you have to answer. So keep an eye out for more contests to come in the future. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Stuart, who is going to talk about some shipping updates. Hi, Stuart. Thanks.
Hey, thanks, Rebecca. And hello to all of our sellers. As always, I start with a big thank you to all of you for being wonderful sellers on eBay, and also for all of the incredibly hard work you guys do in the shipping space. As I've said before, some of you guys have heard me, shipping is not normally easy, and we've certainly talked over the last year about how difficult it's really become, how challenging it still is actually. I've been in the supply chain space for a long time, many years, and certainly this last year has been as difficult as any we've seen. It's just as a little background, it's international and domestic. It's all modes of transportation, actually, really starting with global manufacturing and just overall demand. As those things slow down, you see ocean transportation get congested and slow down. International air freight does the same. And then that heavily impacts, obviously, what's happening here domestically as we think about the networks of our big 3 carriers, USPS, UPS, and FedEx. And so all 3, even, as we sit here in May, are really trying to figure out what demand looks like into the future, and really how much capacity they should build. I think Andrea mentioned earlier, does shopping get back to a more normal state? The carriers are trying to determine that right now. And so we still see this imbalance of capacity and demand. And I think while we've seen stability, I'm going to talk about that here in a minute. While we've seen stability, we're going to see this imbalance for the balance of this year. And I think we're going to have some more difficult times ahead of us. As we think about the different carriers, though, where are we right now? We've mentioned before, UPS and FedEx do a really a pretty nice job of controlling their inbound. They work with their really large warehouse customers, and they control and have really gotten aggressive about controlling how much volume they allow into their networks. And so what we see with that is their ability to really control their networks and consistently drive higher on time more effectively. The post office doesn't have that much control on the front end of things. And so while they've grown and gotten a lot better from a stability perspective, we're still seeing that they have varying degrees of inconsistency. Certain pockets in the US will pop up occasionally from a delay perspective, but overall, they're much more stable than they were last year, even the beginning portion of this year. Now, one other thing on the post office, you recall last year, I think it was April or May, they added a day of service, a day of transit to both priority mail and first class. That's still in place. It's going to be until at least June 30th, officially from the post office. I think it's likely it stays in place for the balance of the year as we start thinking about the back half of the year in peak season. We'll keep you guys updated on any changes they do decide to make in that policy. And of course, we've already got this reflected in the estimated delivery dates that we show to your buyers. And so we'll continue to update. We are still, as we've said, working daily on making adjustments to our estimated delivery dates so that we're being as accurate as we can to your buyers on what's happening in those networks. The last comment I'd have on kind of the overall network is acceptance scans. I think good news there, actually better this year than at the same time last year, and then right on par with where we've been in previous years. Again, in some of those pockets across the country, we're still seeing acceptance scans can be a little bit slower, but those are the exceptions and not the norm. If you guys are seeing anything in your areas of the country as you're working with any of the carriers, please reach out to us and let us know. We work with the carriers on a weekly basis, and we'll appreciate any input you can give us. Okay, so we'll keep you informed as we work through the summer here and as we start heading into third and fourth quarters on what the networks are looking like. Okay, next slide. We wanted to talk a little bit about a really wonderful product that we've launched recently, eBay Standard Envelope, or called ESE. This was a product that we launched to address really tracking needs on smaller, low weight and low value ASP items. We all know how important tracking is to everyone across the board, whether it's yourself, eBay as a marketplace, or our buyers. And it's really important for our buyers, particularly important for our buyers. And so this product extends the capability of tracking at really an affordable cost. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our Seller Center page if I can. Let me know if you guys are seeing the screen. We look good?
Looks good, Stuart.
Awesome. Thank you. So I pulled this up because I want everyone to see the really rich content we have on this product out on Seller Center. As I mentioned, we launched this for a variety of different reasons. Some of the key benefits we reflect right here, talking about really significant savings over any of the other services that are out there. We launched, I'll scroll down and move all over the page here a little bit, but we launched originally with trading cards. And now we've just recently launched into coins and paper money, postcards and stamps. Okay. So again, low cost way to ship small, lightweight items, up to 3 ounces. So let's talk a little bit about how this works specifically. Some of the pricing, you see it here today. There you go, 1 ounce, 51 cents, up to 3 ounces at 91 cents. Really pretty simple from a how it works perspective, right? You list your item at listing time with this exact service with eBay Standard Envelope as the selected service. You print your label right on eBay labels. You put it on your envelope and you inject it to USPS, however you normally do your business. Tracking is automatically integrated through this product. Acceptance scans are not required. Really that basic. The thing that we really want to call to everyone's attention, though, is again, the requirements around size, very specific. We want everyone to be very compliant with it. So you can see what it looks like here. And right here, we also have the ability when you're in Seller Center to take a look at this PDF that outlines really exactly what the packaging should look like and what the do's are and the don'ts are. Okay, so please take a look at eBay Standard Envelope, really doing some really interesting things, and provide us your feedback on the product as we continue to refine it and look to launch it in other categories. Awesome, thanks. And then just to wrap up, I wanted to talk a little bit, we're talking the shipping tip of the month. So I think everyone's aware of dimensional weight, but we really want to focus on it here for a little bit. There's 2 weights out there as you guys think about shipping weight. There's the physical weight of the package when you put it on the scale. And then there's the size of the package, length times width times height. And the carriers charge on whichever is the greater of the 2 of those. And as I said, I think most of you are aware of it, but you've got to be really smart about this. We're going to put a video up here in a minute that talks a little bit more about it, but we wanted to focus on it because it's something that the carriers are focusing on. We talk about capacity constraints in their network. Well, part of that is the amount of packages that they can get into their package cars, or they can fit on trucks or on planes. And so the dimensional size of these packages, well, they've always matter even more. And so all of the carriers are being really strict about dimensionally weighing the packages when they come into the facilities. Think about your package getting into a facility. It's weighed physically, and at the same time it's weighed, there's a camera that's taking a picture of the dimensions. That's what you're going to get charged, whichever is the greater of the two. So it's a focus for them. Please make it an even greater focus for you as you just think about easy shipping to buyers and your profitability. You can pull the video here. This also up on Seller Center, but a great video that tells you a little bit about dim weights.
The weight on the scale isn't the only factor. Carriers use other measurements to calculate cost. Be sure to use the right size box and put the right dimensions and weight to save money. A smart ship tip: always round up to the nearest whole number.
Awesome. Guys, again, thanks for everything you do as eBay sellers and in the shipping space. And as I said earlier, we'll keep you abreast on what's happening with the networks as we work through the year. Thanks, and I think I'll pass it over to Jennifer now.
Thank you so much, Stuart. And hello, eBay sellers. My name is Jen, and I am so happy and honored to be here with you all today. Thank you for being available to attend today's check-in session, and I hope you find the content that I'm going to share with you today very valuable. This content is going to be all about how to drive results with data. The goal is to help you understand and capitalize on the data we provide in the performance and research tabs located in the Seller Hub. It is important to understand how to use this information in order to better measure the impact of the adjustments that you make on your listings. So before we get into the content, I would like to share a little background on myself. I've been with eBay for just over 7 years, and I've worked in many roles here. And my current role here at eBay is to help sellers grow their business and optimize their listings, which I am very passionate about. And recently, I was able to participate in our Up and Running program, and it was wonderful to help sellers get started on the site and an honor to watch them grow. So with that being said, let's get into what we're going to discuss today. All right, so first, we are going to cover analyzing traffic reports and measuring the impact of the changes that you've made, and really diving into what data traffic reports provide and how to take action to increase item visibility. Next, we will cover understanding your sales reports, which can provide valuable insights on what inventory you should or shouldn't stock up on. And finally, we will look at leveraging the power of Terapeak research and the sourcing insight tool to better understand what buyers are looking for, which can help you source items that are more likely to sell. It provides valuable insight, and this comes in handy when you're sourcing new products or looking to expand onto new categories. So first, let's take a quick look at where to find all the tools we will be discussing today. We will also be dropping links for these tools as we go in the chat to help you find them easier. We will begin by looking at the Performance tab. We will look at the Summary page and then dive into the Sales and Traffic pages. After that, we will look at the Research tab. This tab houses the Terapeak tools that you've been hearing so much about, and we will be looking at those pages towards the end of the presentation. So let's go ahead and get started with looking at the Performance tab. What we are looking at here is the Summary page that is within the Performance tab. This page has valuable high-level overview of the last 7, 31, and 90 days worth of sales, traffic metrics over the last 30 days, and the percentage you're up or down compared to the last 30 days, and selling costs for upcoming billing cycles compared to net sales, seller level snapshot, and a mini traffic report summary. All these things can be clicked into so that you can investigate further. You'll see little arrows in the right-hand corners of these boxes where you can click on them to see more information. And this overview absolutely comes in handy as a jumping point once you fine-tune and optimize listings and gotten into a really good selling groove. So now I want to dive into the actual report pages with you and talk about the best ways to interpret the data and turn it into actionable steps to drive better results. So traffic reports play a crucial role in measuring the effectiveness of the changes that you've made to your listings and can also help identify listings that may need attention when it comes to improving search and findability. This report provides insight on 5 separate data sets, both numerically and visually, and can be sorted by a custom date range. It is good to note that we compare the dates you're reviewing with the same time frame prior in order to determine growth or shrinkage. Denoted by the green arrows you're seeing here, and sometimes there will also be some red arrows if things are currently down, and lines in the graphs below. Starting from the top left, you will see impressions, which is the number of times your item has appeared on the search results page. Then you'll see page views, which are the number of times buyers have actually clicked into your listing. Quantity sold, which is the total number of items sold during the time period you're analyzing. Average click-through rate, which is the number of page views divided by the item impressions, which is basically when the buyer is clicking in without purchasing. And then finally, you'll see the average sales conversion rate. This is the number of clicks into listings divided by the number of actual sales. So if you scroll down on this same page further, you'll see a breakdown of the information on the individual listing level, along with a downloadable and sortable report in CSV format. This button is located on the right-hand side of the page you see here and is labeled Download Active Listings Traffic Report. Definitely check that out if you haven't already. It is very valuable and I use it with sellers all the time. You can sort this report by any metric to gain valuable and actionable insights, but let's talk a little bit more about the individual metrics and some of the actions you can take to address and improve them. So let's go over these metrics and the questions that you should ask when analyzing them and some of the steps you can take to improve them. First up, if you have low item impressions, this indicates that there is an opportunity for search engine optimization. So look for opportunities to optimize titles, item specifics, and ensure that the listings have the correct categorization. Maybe the item in question is out of season, which can affect visibility. So also think of that initial sales funnel. If you are seeing low page views, this indicates an opportunity for pricing. So value or gallery photo optimization, your listing might not be getting seen, or your listing might be getting seen, but you want to ask, why aren't my buyers clicking into it? You may want to consider free shipping since it's shown in search results. This may also be a good opportunity to add more value to your listing by utilizing a promotion. If the issue that there is a low quantity of items being sold, this could be a pricing or value issue. Some things to think about here are you offering free shipping, promotional discounts like buy one, get one free, or buy one, get one 30% off. Ask why interested buyers are not purchasing, or really put yourself in the buyer's shoes and try to imagine if I were a buyer, what type of deal would I be looking for? And then high click-through rate, this means there is something in the listing that's deterring your interested buyer from purchasing. Maybe the item specifics are off, or the description doesn't quite answer the question the buyer wants answered, and they just can't find that information they're looking for in order to convert the sale. Really, again, think about the buyer's shopping journey, leaving them with no questions asked. And finally, if you are seeing a low average conversion rate with this one, again, the same thing as high click-through, there may be something in the listing that's deterring your interested buyer from purchasing. Look over the listing well and think of these points as you do so. It may not even hurt to check out how the listing is showing up on mobile just to get an idea of the entire buyer experience. And use those granular downloadable reports that we've discussed when you're fine-tuning these listings and your overview page to ensure you're maintaining optimization. Make changes and monitor the numbers as time goes on. Now, let's move on to sales reports, where traffic reports identify opportunities for optimization and increased visibility. Sales reports can help you leverage data to amplify and increase sales overall. So you can track and measure sales goals, compare fees and shipping costs to profits, which can help determine areas for potential cost savings, analyze individual sales to better understand the factors that lead to purchases, amplify sales, which identify items that are selling well or categories that are accelerating. Use that data to source more effectively and stock up on items that are selling well and keep up with sales. You can also use the data to strategize on the types of items you want to promote. Move stagnant inventory with markdown sales, or make room for inventory that's moving. Use that report I was just talking about here as well. So good. And ultimately, utilizing the data here will help you grow your business. Let's cover some key considerations when you're reviewing sales reports. On the top left, you will see some date sorting options. When you're analyzing monthly or quarterly sales, you'll most likely want to take seasonality into account. The best way to do that is by selecting the custom date range in the boxes highlighted here. Once you input the time frame, compare that to the same starting date, but a year prior. That way you're comparing apples to apples. Let's take a look at an example for more clarity on this. So here we are looking at a quarter's worth of sales. So I've got January 1st, 2021 to March 31st, 2021, and comparing that to the same 90 days, but a year ago. So I have changed the date to January 1st, 2020. Here you can download a CSV format of this report, which will cover the time period you're currently reviewing. If you look at the graph, you can see some of the natural seasonality spikes and dips that coincide with sales. And one thing to keep in mind, this seller is somewhat aggressive with their promoted listing campaigns, coupled with solid promotional discount offers like buy one, get one, and they're optimized listing wise, which drives additional visibility. And also they utilize promoted listings. So then you can secure the click and the sale with well thought out discount offers and promotions. If you scroll down a little further on this page, you can get a quick overview of some of the top selling items for that time period you've just researched. Top takeaway here, use the traffic and sales reports to your advantage. Note the dates when you're making changes to track the progress, adjust, and continually move the needle up and to the right. This is something that I love watching go up. If you're not seeing those changes, just continue to monitor that. Download the traffic reports and sort by the item with the lowest impressions. Make determinations on what changes to make based on listing optimization tips we have previously discussed. Think titles, item specifics, categorization, all of those great meaty things that go into a listing. And look at the low view items and really determine if you're offering the right value and presenting yourself professionally with photos to garner the click into the listing. Consider the items with high click-through rate and make sure that you have the right details in the listing. Even look at the description. And again, don't be afraid to pull it up on mobile and just see how it's looking there. Use the data and create a game plan. Don't try to tackle everything at once and really strategize on how you're going to use the information to drive positive results. And now let's go ahead and look at the Terapeak Sourcing Insights tool. It has a lot of insight to offer, and I'm sure you're going to find quite a bit of benefit from using it, especially when it comes to sourcing new product. So this is a snapshot of the Terapeak Sourcing Insights page. The Insights tool provides category-specific data on the types of products that you're selling and identifies opportunities to more effectively source the types of items your buyers are looking for. This page looks at categories you've sold in over the last 90 days and considers things like search volume, how often are buyers looking for these items, active listings, which is how many listings are housed on the site, search to listing ratio, which is a comparison of those two, and sell-through rate percentage. How successful are the listings in driving sales once they're discovered? And in a nutshell, assess the supply on site in categories you sell in versus buyer demands. You can also search categories you're interested in selling in so that you can get an idea of what inventory you would like to acquire next. Let's take a closer look at the records to get an idea of what you will find if you dig deeper into these sourcing insights. So after clicking into records, as you saw on the previous screen, we can see the click-through rate over time. It has been going up and the trend is projecting that it will continue. If you hover to the right of the graph, you will see arrows with options to click through different views. If we click over to the right, we can see the total listings over time on site. The listings on site for records have increased over time and appear to be on a continuous upward trend. And if we click right once more, we can see the trend for items sold over time matches the clicks and listings on site. So this would be a great opportunity if you have some vinyl to list or have a place to source them from. If we scroll down on this very same page for records, you will see a list of top opportunities for item specifics within the records category. This example shown here shows that LP duration for 12-inch vinyl in the rock category is the top item-specific selling combo. So this helps you narrow down even further the best sourcing opportunities for records specifically. You can also choose to explore each item specific a bit deeper as well. If you were to dive into duration, you would see each genre broken down for LPs, singles, and so on. And finally, you can also look at the top listings overall for records. This way you can see if you already have some of these top selling items on site so that you are able to get them listed and make sure you're capitalizing on those sales. Now for our final topic, let's look at the Terapeak Research tab. And this is a free to use tool for anyone selling on eBay, which I think is wonderful. And Rebecca mentioned that comment where someone was using it to help their titles, and I love hearing that. So this Terapeak feature allows you to research recent marketplace trends and real-world sales data for millions of listings. This tool can be used to provide pricing insights, data on real-world going rates for the items that you're researching, listing insights where you can research competing listings and compare what are they doing that you're not doing and how can you adopt those practices, such as titles. Value insights. This is really great to see. You can see if maybe somebody's offering free shipping on items or if it seems like they're charging. So this can be used for sourcing, pricing, or determining improvements you can make to your listing in order to show up more often in search results and sell more often when you're found. This tool offers a ton of sorting options and features. You can research the results with customizable date ranges, listing formats, price variables, and categories. You can even look at data for international eBay sites as well, which I think is really cool. There's a drop-down where you can switch from ebay.com to any other eBay site. But here I just stuck with .com and I searched for Rolling Stones vinyl that sold over the last 30 days. This populated search results for items recently sold with those keywords in the title. I can use these search results to structure my own title if I have a similar item for sale. I can also look at the average sold price and the percentage of listings that sold with free shipping. This tool provides lots of different insights you can use to make market research a lot easier. You can also toggle over from the sold items to the ones that are currently active on site right now. This will give you insight on what your competition is currently doing. You can also see whether a listing is being promoted, how many buyers are watching the listing, as well as the average shipping price versus how many listings are offering free shipping. If you click on the switch to show current trends here on the right, you will see the data from the banner shown in graphs. This graph shows the distribution of listing prices. If you hover over each bar, it shows you how many listings fall within certain price ranges. As you can see, most of the listings in my search results here fall within the $0 to $228 range. But it's going to be different for every item, so definitely check that out. And don't be shy going in and playing around with the features on Terapeak, even if you're just searching for random items to figure out how it works. It's very insightful, and I think you'll find the information in there incredibly useful. This tool can help with sourcing and listing optimization, and I challenge each of you to research an item and see for yourself all of the data it has to offer. So please feel free to ask any questions you have through the Q&A functionality, and we are happy to help answer those. Please get in there and use this tool. It's absolutely amazing.
Jennifer, thank you so much for all of that information. It was really great. Jennifer's presentation, so rich, so much rich content. And I want to remind sellers out there that you can find all of this plus a whole lot more on Seller School. And we'll put the link into that in the chat. And Seller School is free for everyone. So I hope that everyone takes a chance to have a look at it. Some of the content, yes, is a little more beginner, and some of the content is pretty advanced. So I think that there's something for everyone in there, no matter how experienced you are with selling. So now we got a ton. Oh my gosh, so many questions in the Q&A. And thank you everyone who entered your questions in the Q&A tab. We also saw a lot of questions in the chat as well. And we're going to answer a few of the ones that we saw. And to be totally frank, no, we probably haven't answered every single question. And that's because there are a lot more of you than there are of us, but we want to hear your questions. And so we'll drop a link into the chat, which is to a community forum where you have about an hour after this event to come and ask your questions, and we'll find you the answers. That may take a little more time, but we will follow up certainly and answer those questions for you. And in the community chat, you may be able to see what other sellers are interested in asking about. I know there was some desire to see what the other questions are. So warmly encourage everyone to go into the community forums and share your questions there if we don't get to them today. So I'm going to answer the first question, and then I'll call on a couple of the folks who have spoken here today to answer some of the other questions. So the first one that I want to talk about, even though we'd all prefer for it to be Harry, who is our absolute expert and couldn't be here today, I do want to talk about item specifics because we know that there are a lot of people who have questions about item specifics, what their purpose is, and why changes continue to happen. So I'll share our thoughts on that, and then I'll turn it over to Stuart and Andrea. We have a few more folks that we'll call on. So item specifics, why do they continue to change? There are a number of drivers for category and item specific changes. One of the main ones is to support new products and new trends that we see happening in the marketplace and in the market. Then there are programs that are related to supply and demand that we need to be able to support that require some changes to happen. And then also, we want you to know that we are aligning all the sites and categories and item specifics to a global data model so that buyers and sellers have the best opportunities to transact globally. And everything is, an even playing field, I guess. And then in addition to the above, there are times that we have to make changes to meet a business requirement from legal or from policy, from SEO, selling, search, shipping. So I think the takeaway here is that we are doing it on purpose because we truly believe that updating those item specifics will drive your business and will help result in more sales for you and a better experience for buyers. Then the other part of this question is, do we really have to do all of this? And I think that's a perennial question. Do you have to do all of these item specifics? So there is a whole team here at eBay that is working hard every day to make sure that the required item specifics are the most meaningful to buyers, so that the specifics you put in are the ones that buyers are looking for. Any other item specifics are either recommended or optional and are not going to stop you from listing or from, potentially having a successful sale if they're not completed. I know we all want to close that little circle if we're still seeing that, but it's not required in order to be able to successfully list. And then the last thing I want to mention is, just to be really clear, please do fill in the required item specifics. That's really important. But there's lots of recommended ones. And we do not suggest that you put in NA or not applicable if you find a recommended item specific that isn't relevant to the item that you're listing. Just leave it blank and we'll automatically do the rest. So do the required, do as many of the recommends as makes sense, and that way you'll have a successful listing. All right, so that's item specifics. Andrea, are you ready for a question for you? It's a question about Terapeak. And this is a hot question that I saw a lot of people asking. Is Terapeak going to be available in the app anytime?
So I've been here long enough to remember when we acquired Terapeak, and I'm amazed at how fast we've integrated. But I know that there's more to be done, and Terapeak is an incredibly useful and very popular source of insights. So we are working on that. We know that mobile is increasingly important, both on the buyer side and on the seller side. So we are working on that. It is a priority. Nothing to announce right now, but it's definitely something that we'll come back to and have more to share later this year.
Great, thank you.
Rebecca.
And then hot off the presses, thanks. And I apologize if my internet still is not awesome. Thanks for bearing with the gremlins in my system. So hot off the presses, I just heard from a fellow teammate here at eBay that, we know that some folks occasionally think that they run into an item specifics that isn't like super duper isn't relevant, that somehow there's a fix on our side that needs to happen rather than, figuring out what's recommended versus what's required. And there is actually a place where you can go ahead and submit that ask. And we will drop the link in the chat. It's not a short, pretty link, but it will send you through to a place where you can choose categories and item specifics. And there you can submit whatever it is you think that you're seeing that you think is something that needs to be improved on the site. All right. So next up, Stuart, you ready for a question? I have a great one for you.
Please.
Yeah, cool. So the question for you is, sellers want to know, should they use the eBay Global Shipping Program or / eBay's international shipping programs? Like but talk about the benefits there and just, tell sellers a little more about that if they haven't, dipped their toe in that water.
Yep. Awesome. Yes is the answer. Please. First, ship internationally. There's a huge demand for U.S. Product. It's a really great way to expand your business. The shipping portion of this, look, there's lots of different ways to ship internationally. We think the two easiest ways, in fact, we know the two easiest ways to ship internationally are the two programs that we have, eBay International Standard Delivery, which we launched last year, and our Global Shipping Program, which has been around for about 7 years. EISD, eBay International Standard Delivery, is very similar to shipping internationally with a post office or another carrier. It's a DDU solution, delivery duty unpaid to your buyer. Our program goes to 200 countries around the world. It offers savings of up to 15% against some of the carriers that I just mentioned a minute ago. Our tracking and reliability on this product is really strong. Built-in insurance of up to $100. and seller protections because it's eBay shipping program. So yeah, try eBay International Standard Delivery. And if you're looking for something a little bit more robust, the global shipping program, also supported by eBay, is just that. It's a delivered duty paid solution. Take a look at Seller Center and learn about them. But yeah, please, those products.
Thanks, Stuart. Appreciate your time there. All right, I'm going to answer a couple of quick questions about Open. It seems like a bunch of you are excited about that. And then we'll probably have time for one last question with Andrea. So a little more about eBay Open. First of all, I saw someone ask if there's going to be a cost to attend. And no, it's totally free this year. And we aren't going to have an upper limit on the number of people that can attend. So please register. We want as many sellers as possible to join us and to learn all the news and to meet each other and have the networking opportunities. And then I also saw a question or two around whether eBay is planning any in-person events this year, which I know is kind of the big question for all of us pretty much everywhere. And we are all really eager to do that. But for 2021, our plans are for eBay hosted and official events to be virtual only. Later in the year, if there's, in accordance with company rules or guidelines, we might start going to the occasional trade show. If you've seen us there before, that's something we might start doing if it's safe, if local ordinances agree with it. But we are also looking forward to 2022 and what might hold there. So I think we all want to attend in-person stuff in 2022. It's a little bit watch this space, but as soon as we make a determination, we will let you know, because we would all love to be in person again and spend time together again and talk about selling on eBay and learn and share together. Okay, and with that, Andrea, one last question. Oh, this is an important one to many people. Even though it's not as happy. We have questions about fraudulent buyers. Can you speak to how we handle fraudulent buyers?
Yeah, definitely. So we've got a team that is dedicated to identifying and actioning abusive buyers, whether or not they're fraudulent. They can certainly make your life as a seller more difficult than necessary. And so the best thing to do to essentially raise a flag is to report those buyers through the report the buyer functionality. And what happens when you do that? The buyer gets flagged and it feeds into our abusive buyer detection algorithm, both to look at the individual case and also to educate that algorithm to changing patterns of bad buyer behavior. So it's really important that you do that flagging. There are other mechanisms that we have in place to detect the potential issues. But in terms of what's something that we recommend sellers to do, definitely flag the buyer. Then that comes into our system as something to be actioned. So thanks.
Great, thanks, Andrea. So unfortunately, we have so many more questions than we're able to answer live here today. But again, you can come visit the online community to share your questions there. And overall, thank you guys so much. Thank you all so much for visiting. Thank you to Andrea and Stuart and Jennifer for being here. Really appreciate you sellers. You gave us time out of your day when you could be listing and packing and shipping and doing all of that to spend some time with us. And we really appreciate it. We also will be posting this on our YouTube channel, and there will be a follow-up email full of lots of information, including that call for submissions from Open, link to YouTube, and other things. So please keep an eye on your email for that. Above all, I want to say thank you for selling on eBay. We wouldn't be here if you guys didn't sell on eBay. Your success is our success. We appreciate your partnership. We appreciate your time. And thank you so much for being here today. When we end the meeting, you'll see that you're going to get a prompt to answer a survey. It's really important to us to know if we're doing a good job, if there's things we could do better at. So please let us know and watch for that survey to pop up on your screen. And with that, we'll say thank you and have a wonderful afternoon. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Thanks so much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, all.